ideas for how magic can be. So I remember my friend who is being a game master back in Russia is particularly fond of a world where magic would be something that races evolve to, in the sense that it is a physiological process, just much like the eating and drinking and falling in love. But surprisingly, it affects the outside world, not just inside your body. So, as exciting as it is, she never really told me anything that came out from this idea. But she has a website where she wants to put on all the, well, more rigorous, or how to say, more detailed classes and spells that exist in this world. So, you know, it's actually been created quite carefully. My other friend, who is from here, is a very school physicist actually, part of the anime club. He writes his own rule book. And it's pretty big and it's written in latex, so yeah. I mean, apparently this kind of activity is quite popular, or is something that people would easily talk about or whatnot. And I like it. I myself would also want to try doing this kind of thing, even though obviously I'm not as dedicated as those people. But again, if I just get to shoot a video once in a while where I talk about some stories about my world, the world that I want to see in a fantasy book or in a D&D game, or usual game for whatnot, then I guess that is quite enough. It's pretty much as much as this world will deserve. So, as usual, how to say it, magic comes from dreams, from something that we want to be able to do. So, I'm not sure what kind of magic exists in the world of that theoretical physicist is creating, but probably it has quite precise laws and rules. Or, well, something. But the physiological magic is, I guess, just something that this person, this girl, really wished for to exist, because she herself really wanted to change the world with accordance to her feelings, but it didn't quite happen. So, in my case, I also kind of have feelings, and that's why I want to imagine magical worlds in the first place. And I'm feeling dissatisfied with the stories that I'm being told on the big screen or on YouTube, which are plentiful right now, that in that kind of stories, well, usually everything is very predictable, very flat, in a sense, not very deep. And the mages, the wizards, as they are either the machines of destruction that are kind of secondary characters, or there's a really evil character who is a mage, and then there's a good character who is also a mage, and the idea is that you're supposed to use your heart or well, sometimes, but rarely, you bits to combine the spells you already know and defeat the wizard, well, possibly save your loved ones. So this is how magic is on the big screen. In the D&D, well, it's a little bit different. So the whole setting is such that the mages are vulnerable characters, they are hard to play. So the most specific character trait of them would be that they are not quite used to living the life of the adventurer. Nonetheless, they have plenty of spells and just a little bit of knowledge of how they work. And their spells work like clocks, so basically they are always certain that the spell will work, and typically it's again the machines of destruction kind of spells. And only sometimes it's something else. So, for this or that reason, a kind of setting like that does not make me happy. So I'd like stories to be told about magic that are a little bit more explorational, I would say. So I want magic to be something that is constantly changing, so that people who live in a world with magic and face conflicts and problems on a daily basis, whose life themselves are not predictable, the magic that they face is also not predictable. And I guess it'll be really hard to play if somebody wants to make a game out of it. But it's a really easy plot device for a person who writes a story. So, the idea is that, I guess, they have to explore the world of magic on a daily basis, and it doesn't really stop. So after they figure out something out, it doesn't keep working for the rest of their days, and maybe that can be disappointing. But it's something to get used to. So, and this process of exploration of magic and its rules and the way different people and different personalities are actually placed in this world of magic, and the meaning, so is actually, I think, more interesting for me than the process of saving the world or whatever that the people in the fantasy world usually do. So that's why I've been desperately searching the internet for something that has more of people just talking and figuring stuff out and less of fighting. And eventually I stumbled upon all these D&D TV shows, YouTube TV shows that people are, that's done by fans mostly, somewhere in Canada mostly. So those ones are great. I think that because of the low budget, they can't really shoot many fights, so their characters indeed sit around and try to figure out sometimes the magical occurrences that are happening with them. So this is pretty much what I want, but I want to flesh it out a little bit more. And another benefit of this simple idea is that if one of the kind of basic rules of magic that every sorcerer learns in his sorcering school is that indeed you cannot reproduce the result of the magical experiment. Then it will basically immediately give you complementarity with all the science that we know about the world. Because if the magic is not reproducible, that cannot be part of science. So, well, here you